Hello and welcome to Football is Nice, the comedic podcast. It's a podcast really, where we discuss matters related to football in a comedic way.
It's a bit of pressure, that, Russ.
Because it's now got to be funny.
It's got to be funny,
It's got to be, hasn't it? I've introduced it as a comedy podcast in an attempt to make it appealing to a wider audience, but actually I've increased the pressure on me, Russell Brand, and you, Gareth Roy, while the music's still playing, the introductory music. And I'm still very much using a meter that I see as introductory. In my mind, I'm imagining this. It's produced by Jenny Mayfin, who sometimes, occasionally, and let's just accept it for what it is, contributes to the podcast. Welcome you. Welcome everyone. All right, Gareth, how are you?
I don't know, is it just the introduction of it being comedic that's just suddenly ramped the pressure up
A
in
lot
this
of
room?
pressure's been on because I've just done using an in-app to promote Football is Nice, which we're putting more pressure on, or we're trying to improve.
Yeah.
I just did that Instagram thing, which I'd not touched before because we've got a new, more professional person working for us, Subi, and it's increased pressure, hasn't it?
Yeah, it would be all over Twitter and things now. Is that the one we're going for? What is it?
That was Instagram.
Instagram, yes.
Youngsters these days
TikTok
enjoy Twitter. That's what they do. These young,
they love it, don't they?
They're 4 or 5 years old. And
Yeah.
they are twittering themselves. It's not just that the world is changing; it's the rate of change is so rapid that you could very easily say something you think is very up to the minute.
Yeah, well, I had talked about Vine the other day, but apparently that's gone now.
That's right. Yeah, your friendship with Tom on MySpace won't save you now, my friend. Apparently, you did that to everybody.
I'm in a different chair as well. I think that's contributing to my fear.
You're wearing that lovely sort of Aaron. Like that sort of lovely sweater, and you look like you're in a Swedish catalogue. Oh, you've lowered yourself too dramatically.
That was very confident of you to go straight for the lever.
I was trying to keep it from not leaning back rather than going down. Anyway, these are not important. We're in the first few minutes. We need to make it punchy.
This is when we establish our rapport. Then what if someone, because of our new social media push, is thinking, let's give these guys a chance, and the first thing they hear is you plummeting, a man that can't even manage the chair that he's sat in. One person who can't manage the chair he's sat in is Rafa Benitez, that rosy-cheeked wonder. He's been fired. You can hear the symptoms of COVID just echoing around the bloody chamber.
It's definitely not COVID.
Yeah,
because I already had it.
Yeah, no. People are so defensive about being accused of COVID, aren't they now?
That's because you have to go hide if you have it.
And also, though, but I don't want to get too political, but I believe all COVID regulations will soon be alleviated to save old big dog Boris. But isn't it?
No comment from me.
Isn't that's what I've seen that in the newspapers. You run a news channel, mate, so I don't know why you're trying to hide. It's too late for any of that.
Benitez, anyway, this is one of the talking points for this week, surely.
It's one of the many talking points because it's a show stuffed with content, beautifully prepared and brilliantly executed. If you've not reviewed Football is Nice yet, then review it as this person did. Nice, 5 stars, nice, perfect. This is from Jimbo, SUFC. The wife loves Russell's spiritual stuff, says Jimbo. I love football. This is the perfect compromise. So the suggestion is you're getting neither football or spiritual stuff. I like it, says Jumbo Ello. So Jimbo and Jumbo. What's the way that these are being compiled, these comments?
We're getting all the J's this week.
A quite lovely pod, both well-paced and natural, certainly is natural, holds a high place amongst many of the football pods. Classic Russ, coupled with a nice bloke who supports Hull, and a most pleasant-sounding Jenny, who does well to keep Russ on topic most of the time. Thanks, guys. James. Petition for JMF to be retrospectively awarded prediction points.
Oh, now, not this again.
This relates to our league. We have you may not know, because you might be listening to this show for the first time, so let me, as a professional broadcaster, tell you that we run a league where we predict the weekly EPL scores and are awarded 1 point for the correct result, i.e. if we predict the team that wins or we predict a draw, and 3 points if we exactly predict the score. Jen didn't join in for the first couple of weeks for reasons that we don't understand.
You didn't invite me in.
Sexism then, probably, isn't it? Sexism, and it's some sort of form of casual unconscious exclusion.
I think at that point, to be fair, we didn't know that Jen was going to chip in with the odd anecdote.
didn't dare to dream.
Yeah, and now we know that she will lean into the mic for
I'll
us.
lean in for you.
Oh,
She's included.
Jenny May's new album about her experience as a podcast producer, I'll Lean In for You. Oh, it's actually sort of quite touching, a bit like the Friends theme tune, but instead of being there for us, which is what they offered, the Rembrandts, she'll lean in for it. She's already there, but you just want she's going to lean in for you when the rain starts to fall, etc., etc.
Yeah.
That's right. Friends is the old days now. I'm so out of touch that I still consider, for example, Christina Aguilera to be something that's only just now happening.
Yeah. She came on that show that we made.
Yes, that's right. Dance Floor Chart, masterpiece.
No, it wasn't.
No.
No, you're misremembering.
Sorry, One Leicester Square.
That's right.
Brilliant show.
One Leicester Square, which we had to sell to her as being TRL,
It's like TRL.
recognisable MTV format. And when she came on,
And what's this thing? This man.
the first thing she did when she came into the studio through those big doors, this was all, recorded, and she was greeted by you. Now, you were in your pomp at that stage.
I would have been eyelash, like sort of all eyeliner, lacquers, hairspray, everything sprayed, my clothing, just a stick of licorice and a sort of toothy grin.
Yeah, I would say the majority of the time spent preparing for the show was spent on your wardrobe. Grooming. Yeah.
Putting various belts and buckles
There
and
were
horse
so many
brasses,
belts, weren't there?
necklaces, trinkets. It's a lot of trouble to go to.
Yeah. Yeah, all sorts of belts.
What did Aguilera say as she strutted onto the set?
Well, you greeted her and said, welcome, at which point she must have thought, what is this? And then she sat down nervously and said, thanks for having me on TRL. And you kind of looked across at me as if to say, did we tell her it was TRL?
You would have just said, just go with it.
Go with
Thank you for coming on to TRL, which is what you're on now. And that's why you've come on here and why your PR team have made an excellent choice in putting you through this ridiculous, amateurish goonery that's about to unfold.
Yeah, which it was, asking us silly questions and stuff.
As you get old, I mean, I just wonder how people are coping with this rate of change. It must be somehow. Do you think like that young people automatically they understand it the same way as my kids can work an iPhone? Do you think that they'll hear the music of now and know that it's somehow contemporaneous to them and it's relevant and that's what they should be listening to?
I do tend to think that we worry about the younger generations, and yet they always adapt. We were one once.
We were once,
at one point. We were all right. I mean, nothing bad happened to you in your teenage years. Didn't
it was
become any habits or anything.
Nope, I sailed right through. But from like what I understand, but we're so infatuated with the contemporary that we forget that, like, as a species, even nothing important has happened since the advent of agriculture. No significant evolutionary steps since sort of 10,000 years ago. We're still the same basic creature. That is to say, a child born now thinks it's going to be born into a hunter-gatherer tribe. Not thinks that, but is no different from that. So everything must come as a terrible shock to us when they start handing us iPhones, filling us up with sugar that's meant to be scarce, and fat, which is meant to be hard won. No wonder everything's so confusing. In one sense, nothing's really changed. In another sense, everything is fundamentally different.
Probably part of, I'm bringing this back to football. But
Good.
I imagine
your job.
there's something about men and women gathering at football matches that harks back to the something that they recognise. I went to watch that. I told you about going to see Charlton earlier in the season. Now, admittedly, Charlton are a kind of very traditional stadium and kind of does feel like you could be going to a game in the 90s. But it's things like, I think you went. I saw a picture of you or somebody talking about you to do with their pies or something. They sell pies.
At the Valley?
At the Valley. And they were kind of, you approved of these pies or something. Basically, what my point is, you go there and it's still very much, I'll have a pie and a pint.
Bovril.
Yeah. Why would you have been endorsing their pies?
Well, I can't think really as a vegan what could have
maybe they do
me.
They do a vegan pie potentially that's what it is.
West Ham shared one time up to Park was getting done up, and I feel like we played at the Valley for a bit, and maybe at Selhurst Park at another time. Right. So but then I was a little boy, so I can't imagine my pie endorsement would have had very much value at all.
I'll find this out for next week. I'll go into sleuth mode.
See what's going on.
There is a connection between you and Charlton and their pies.
And what's he called again? Johnny Johansson, that sexy manager of Charlton that we saw.
Johnny Jackson, wasn't it?
I am for real. I liked him.
We did.
This is what we were trying to tell you in a roundabout type of way, that we do this predictive thing. Jenny weren't included for the first couple of weeks. And now back to this review from Fleety 3000, which is a bit like Andre 2000. So even my noise of Johnny Miss Jackson might have been subtly suggested by
My
that.
word.
Caught it out of the corner of my eye.
Get Darren Brown in here.
Darren, you may be a stoic, but you're a tricky little swine. Did you get us for me to go, ooh, just then, without even me knowing? So it says here, this is a petition for Jenny May Finn to be retrospectively awarded prediction points. JMF missed the first 2 weeks of the prediction game, yet is still pushing for top place. She should be retrospectively awarded an average points per week for those 2 weeks. This has been annoying me for weeks. Other than that, 5 stars. How do we... all right, I'm willing. Are you, Gal?
No.
Now how would we, theoretically, this is like we're discussing like creating a fairer and more equal society. How would you do it, or like reparations for years of slavery? But how would we do it? How would we award those points? So how would we look at what Jen's amassed over the time she has been playing, divide that by the number of weeks she has been playing, that's the average, then award her
We
2
would
weeks
do
worth of
that, but what I would say is this comment isn't representative of all our listeners.
sure?
You should be a politician.
Well,
Are you sure?
Jen, can I just draw your attention to this? Who found this comment and who presented it to Russell?
Yeah, but I go with me.
Answer the
But
question.
didn't Russell see it on his own anyway?
I've been thinking it in the back of my mind for
Yeah,
a while,
see?
and I'll tell you
Because
why.
he's
It's because
fair.
I see that I'm dropping off. You had a time of dropping off, but you've pulled it back, because the fact is in the prediction game now, look, like, I mean, this week alone,
Yeah, there you go. The
you
results are there.
clawed back. Like, Gal got 10 points this week of
Not
predictions,
bad.
including a correct prediction that Norwich would beat Everton 2-1, which is a fateful result for Rafa Benitez. No one else got 3 points. Oh, no, Jenny May Finn got 3 points. I saw that. I saw when Liverpool won 3-0, I thought, I think Jenny predicted that.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But with my predictions, which we can now see are not worth the paper they're written on, right? I forget them. Like, so when I'm watching the games,
Me too.
I sort of think, did I predict that? And then I'm sort of hoping that someone's going to score and like draw a level, for example. And I think, I'm not sure. So if I can't remember my predictions, that means I can't believe in them and that they don't, like, do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, they're not very...
Or it just means you don't really care as much as we do.
But I care when the game is on. I feel anger. I feel like anger and suffering, and it's an exercise in letting go. This for me,
Suffering?
like,
Look, you'll always have, Russ, you'll always have the West Ham Liverpool 3-2.
that was my moment.
That's going to be the highlight of the season.
Can that be like-
who does that? Who predicts that?
West Ham win 3-2
Yeah.
against Liverpool, then West Ham do, and I support West Ham, and it's
Yeah.
like, and yeah, Mane could have scored that leg goal. So that's my it's like I won.
That's your Champions League.
Yeah, Champions League.
You don't need anything else.
From now on, I'm coasting. I'm retired. Like I'm a Harlem Globetrotter. I got nothing else to lose or gain, and it's a good job because I only got 3 points. You got 10 points. Jenny May got 6 points, leaving us in a league position of this week, Jan the 18th. I'm third. Jenny's 68 points, but you are 9 points ahead on 77 points. I wonder if Jenny would be reaching you though if she did get
She'd
those
probably be
average
ahead,
points.
which is why I don't want it to happen.
I see. You're
fess up.
fighting. You're fighting
right
for
now.
what you believe in. Okay. Well, it's something that we can discuss. And if you do want that to happen, then please contact us, because you can see there's an open-mindedness.
You could do a poll on Twitter.
Right, and it's nice to do something on Twitter that doesn't
They'll say yes because, you know, they're
like that.
That's what they do. on
Contrary.
Twitter. They're contrary, exactly, Ross. That's the word.
All right. Well, we could do a poll. Let's do a poll. A poll.
For marketing
We'll do a
purposes.
poll. Yes, okay.
Fair enough. Now, this week, as every week, we've watched football matches. We've lived sweet lady life the way that nature intended, and we've asked a question. This week's question was: Philip Coutinho made an immediate impact for Villa at the weekend. Tell me your funny stories about immediate footballing impacts, either as a player or fan. Gareth always disputes the answers to the questions, thinking they don't fall within the format of his question.
I think I've only done this once, and it's partly maybe because the questions, maybe because they come from me, that I care too much about them.
You attack it like sort of like like Jordan Peterson or something, like some sort of like a really critical, analytical person. Like, no, you've not understood my question there.
Yeah.
Like,
I should be more Jordan Pickford, shouldn't I?
more Pickford, less Peterson, because you're like a sort of a tormented genius who like the world just can't appreciate or understand. Is your approach to answer these questions, but. Anyway, Badsy Bourbon on YouTube has attempted to respond to your inquiry, and I think that in itself is a good thing. When did you make an immediate impact like Coutinho, which I watched happened, and ever since I've heard Coutinho shy, I feel real warm.
Oh yeah, you did briefly mention this last week. So somebody told you that he's a very shy individual.
My mate Rory, who's got, other than being a Liverpool fan, has no, he's not worked there or anything. Right. He says Coutinho's shy, and I just thought, I bet he is shy. Poor
How
Coutinho.
did this come up?
Because I was going like, Gerrard's got Coutinho then on loan. He goes, yeah. And he goes, why was he so quiet at Barcelona though? What's going on? Like, why ain't he made the impact? He goes, he's shy, isn't he? Coutinho's shy. And I'm like,
Those are our sources. Now. Your mate Rory.
He says he's shy. So that's that.
People have like Micah Richards and all sorts.
Yeah, I've got an insider. He's on the board. Rory says he's shy.
Get some more insights from Rory, I say.
I will,
make a regular item.
Rory's insights. I'll ask Rory questions and I'll get you insights. I've got other mates that are football fans with no connection to the club other than they support it.
Perfect. That'll get us a sponsor.
Here we are trying to get our hands on the Kennedy money, trying to earn a bit of legacy for ourselves and generations to come. But frankly, we can't summons up an half-decent source. Badsy Bourbon on YouTube said, we played a little Welsh pub team that had a Shetland pony called Bucky as a mascot. I love this already, don't you?
That's amazing.
I mean, there's a Shetland pony in this story called Bucky.
It's a proper Shetland pony, the mascot. It's because obviously mascots for Premier League games are men dressed up as things, but it sounds like this is an actual Shetland pony.
That would have been the original.
It's not a child with a costume on.
No, this is Bucky. This is Bucky the Shetland pony, because you can't bring a pony out at like Anfield, can you? 'Cause
no,
it's scary for everyone.
Plus, I'd like that if they changed it
out
to
an animal,
actual animals.
It might be wrong in some ways.
Yeah, it would be wrong. It would be cruel. But there were those moments out there sometimes when. Did you remember when the cat got onto a pitch? You know, when a cat and they said there's a cat on the pitch or things. I like that. Birds.
A bird. I feel like I've seen a bird of prey run amok.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah,
the falcon cannot hear the falconer.
Because a lot of clubs have bird of prey and they bring them onto the pitch. Palace do it, I think, don't they? Is it Lazio as well? And they actually...
Right, we're the Eagles. Yeah. And as such, here's an eagle. Yeah. Careful with that thing. yeah, like they've play into that to that livery. That
have you ever been to Waterloo Station?
Well, yeah. I was like, I only was famous at 30. I was all like, up until then, I was never out of Waterloo Station thinking about that clock and the episode of Fools and Horses that it self-referenced brief encounter, looking at that clock, being in Waterloo, paying for a sandwich from something called like Upper Crust or something.
That's right.
It's like £3.50 then, which is probably nothing now. And you get a baguette and it's just a bunch of stupid crap. And I'm a bit drunk. So there, I know about it. The floor, sort of mosaic sort of floor. Then you go off down the cut in Waterloo, cabs outside, can't afford a cab. And then there's that hospital closed down, homeless people outside that church. I know Waterloo. That's what I'm saying.
All right. Well, no, my point was going to be that they sometimes there's a bird of prey in there.
Ooh,
it's ever so exciting.
On the pigeons.
It's the pigeons.
Preying on them.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Have you, Jen?
That bird, yeah.
Whose side are you on, Jen and Gal? When you see a bird of prey approaching a pigeon, are you feeling bad for the pigeon, or are you thinking, well, the bird of prey's got to eat?
Well, I'm there for the show.
He's not eating them.
No, he's scaring them.
He's like more a bird of...
He's at work, is
like
he?
a warden, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's his
he
job.
just got in there and he's not found a niche in the market. Like, hang on, there's all these pigeons in Waterloo Station. They're trapped. I'll get them.
No, it's his job. I don't know if he knows it's his job, but he's brought out there.
I think he does.
Does he know?
Yeah.
You don't know whether he's got benefits, though, does he? Or what his hours are?
No, he doesn't know he's allowed to eat the pigeons, I imagine.
I bet he isn't. Or is he?
I don't know.
Like they might say, you put that down like a gun dog. It's like they have to train a gun dog, not only to pick up the pigeon or the pheasant or whatever and bring it back, but also not to damage it with its teeth, which I think is like... lower your standards.
Yeah.
The dogs.
That's a level of nuance that can canines understand. Well, obviously they can.
They can. You can say to it, but training an animal, who can be bothered?
Well, not you.
No. Oh, don't shit on the street. Don't kill that. Oh, no. Oh, I can't be bothered.
Someone nick a homeless person's cardboard.
Listen to last week's show to understand what has to remain a great moment of podcasting and dog ownership combined.
Absolutely.
It's difficult to sort of like, like people, obviously, I've done films where there's like a cat in it or a mouse or something. And you've trained even that.
A cat and a mouse.
Yeah, Tom and Jerry, wasn't it? Now, this mouse was...
Were you the mum? I knew I recognised that voice. There he
Good
is.
choice to move over to Snoopy rather than the potentially sensitive area that you could have found yourself in if you'd stayed true to the history of that cartoon, which, let's face it, was racially insensitive. We now know. But I was in the film once with these dogs. It was The Tempest, starring me. No, starring Helen Mirren and Chris Cooper and a bunch of really good
Melina.
Who's Molina? Oh yeah, Alfred Molina. Yeah, yeah, he was brilliant.
You got pally with him.
Yeah,
I liked you. I thought that was a good
I loved
duo.
Alfred Molina because he don't like to. We were like Jack Spratt and his wife. He don't like to be late. He likes to be on time. I don't care. So but Molina and I shared a car. So I had to get. You can't leave Molina waiting in the car, can you? You got to get in it.
Yeah.
There were these what might be described as devil dogs pursuing Molina and Jamin Unsu and myself around, Ellen Mirren's cave. All of this is in The Tempest. Behave. And the dogs, they said, don't look at its eyes, you know what I mean? Don't make eye contact with it and all of that. It'll chase you. But you're playing, when you're dabbling with an animal, you're dabbling with the sweet lady nature, and she can do what she wants. They seem to be saying, the dog handlers, and they're always wearing the same thing, sort of a fleece with dog hair on it, and they've always got the energy of people that spend too much time around animals, because they have to continually encouraging it with treats to do it.
Yeah, they wouldn't be great dog handlers if they hardly spent
I don't like them.
any minutes with dogs.
This is the first one. I'm actually nervous that one. That one looks like it's going to go for me. Yeah, exactly. What's going on with that? Yeah, don't look at its eyes. Then, of course, I've mentioned too many times Tom Cruise's monkey.
The monkey, yeah.
I don't get into all that. But anyway, the fact is...
the horse as well.
Oh, the horse
Arthur.
in the film I just... Arthur Horse, when Nick Nolte,
Yeah, or Sarah Marshall horse.
Another horse ran at me into the stable.
It's almost like you only get film parts that have animals in them.
Why are they doing this to me? Why can't I be in a film where I've not got a co-star with a dumb chum? I mean, I love animals. I'm as vegan as the next man. You only need to know from my time at Charlton endorsing their vegan pies. But when even the most recent film I was in, for Lena Dunham, I just done A Turn for a Day. Film ain't out yet, right? There's a horse in that.
Who are we going to get? Well, I think we know the answer.
Who are we going to stick on that horse for a day player, then make me wait in the thing while the COVID tests happen and all that kind of stuff. Then I get on that horse, and they did ask me to do some practices, and I said, I'm all right with horses. I've never been in a film that didn't have at least one. That was beneath me. Anyway, I got on that horse, mate, and I'm always a bit scared.
Yeah, so high.
What's it going to do?
So high up.
This horse had been in Star Wars. It had a better career than I'd had. I was lucky it agreed to let me up there, to tell the truth. It was very professional. In the end, though, I will say this, and I don't know that for sure that I did something wrong, but in the later takes, the director, Lena Dunham, said, why don't we do something where you're not on the horse? So something went right, and they were better. I don't know what they used, or if I've been cut from the whole film.
Did she say the same thing to the horse? Let's do a few scenes without Russell, shall we?
Actually, there was a bit where they said, go back to your trailer, we might be able, that's right. They always say, we just need another one for sound. We just need another light. Something's wrong. We just need you to go over there and not be in this film because you're actually marring the horse's brilliant performance.
It's been in Star Wars.
This horse has been in Star Wars. That ain't part of your claptrap. So, training a bird to go around killing pigeons would be difficult. Training a dog to not crunch its teeth through the skin of a duck or a pheasant can't be easy.
Yeah.
It's... Hats off to those trainers.
Yeah, and Crystal Palace, the bird of prey at Crystal Palace.
For it not to sort of swoop down and attack that bloke that Eric Cantona duffed up quite rightly back in '96 or whenever that was. Can't be easy, can it?
Yeah, I like it though. You know when they all come out at the beginning.
When the eagles swoop down onto the fence.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah.
Sorry, Gareth.
We used to have a little Cantona sting, didn't we, at one point?
We stopped doing that because we've realised that when Graham Taylor, God rest his soul, when I heard that John Barnes said on our podcast that Graham Taylor went out onto the pitch to say, oi, stop being racist to the Oldham players. How do you think our black players felt?
Yeah.
I thought, I'll never criticising Graham Taylor again.
To their own fans.
And then he never told John Barnes he'd done it. John Barnes didn't hear it 2 years later from Luther Blissett.
Amazing.
He's operating on a spiritual level there, Graham Taylor, where for me is beyond criticism. And I got caught up in all of because that documentary's a laugh to watch him going a bit mad, and because he was depicted as a turnip in the Sun newspaper, which since when I've fallen foul of. So now I know. No, don't be dragged along by the cultural momentum. Stay true to spiritual principles.
So this makes me think about some podcasts I've heard this week. In fact, Stephen Warnock, who will come on our show and has agreed to contractually.
Sign on the dotted line, Stephen.
Discussing
the future view, we'll give you a Champions League medal.
Yes, we will.
Appear in the final or not?
Wouldn't that be lovely? So I heard him talking this week about Rafa.
What did he say?
Well, I didn't know this about Rafa, but he said he's completely cold. I mean, he did not hold back at any point.
Stevie G said he preferred Oulier because Oulier was more friendly, and he said that Benitez was more one of them ones that pushed
Benitez. Here he goes again.
I've
2022, New Year, same old pronunciations.
People whose names are entrenched in the cultural imagination being mispronounced on a regular basis.
Yeah, Benitez. He looks like a jolly, doesn't he? It does look jolly.
He looks like he'd warm his hands like this by blowing into his hands. It is me, Uncle Rafa Benitez. What do you like, little boy? Hey, have this parcel. Like he's a sort of almost
like Father Christmas.
Basically, that's the reference I've gone for. He's like Father Christmas.
Yeah, he's got rosy cheeks, hasn't he?
Father Christmas.
Yeah, train. What does he get called? The train conductor.
Because of the waistcoat. Squires at least calls him that. David Squires.
He calls him. That's where it's come from.
That.
Yeah, but no, apparently incredibly cold. I was listening to a podcast with Stephen Warnock and Danny Murphy, both at Liverpool, and I think Benitez got rid of both of them, and I think they were up front and said, I mean, obviously, caveat here being he did let us both go, but it sounded like he just doesn't give anything. The kind of image of a manager putting arms around the players is that's so far away from Benitez, and the feeling at Everton very much was he wasn't giving his players the feeling like he rated them, and I mean, you can kind of tell from the results, can't you? I mean, everyone was against it, weren't they, from the start? But it's going to be very interesting to see what happens next. You know that everyone's talking about Rooney now. Rooney coming in.
My mate Jimmy said he'd take Colleen Rooney at this stage.
That's brilliant. Not Rory.
That's another source I've got. I know exactly what's going on through my mates. There's what's telling me everything. Well, the thing is with Rafa Benitez,
yeah,
right, is that he was sacked for the reason that they give him a job. Like, he used to manage Liverpool. Sack him. Hold on a minute. That's why you give him the job. And that's like, say when you get into a relationship with someone and you think, this person's too promiscuous or this person's an erratic lunatic. Both of those people are me. And then the problem is they're an erratic lunatic. Like that was the problem in the first place. Do you know what I mean? You could have seen that right at the get-go.
Yeah, it was a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It fulfilled itself like that type of prophecy simply must do.
Yeah, because there was a weight of negativity to it, wasn't there? That was always going to undermine any brief success that he had.
Particularly after Ancelotti, which apparently was in decline, and it's well documented that the early results of Rafa compared to the early results of Ancelotti, but the feel-good factor is totally different now. It's what I'm hearing, as well as like Rooney. Did he do enough at Derby to warrant this?
Currently he is. Yeah,
is he?
I mean,
what's happening
it's
at
quite
Derby?
Incredible. I mean, they've been deducted so many points, and yet they just
financial impropriety.
Yeah, all of that under Mel Morris and that, and I heard Lampard talking about it. It's yeah, I mean, Rooney's actually done, this season especially, an incredible job.
How?
Because they've amassed so many points. I think they'd be 7th if it wasn't for the points deduction.
Well, that's not good enough.
Well, it is, because he started the season with 9 senior players, I think it was. Like, it's like...
It's a weird story. It's like, you've only got 9 senior players. We're deducting your points.
Yeah.
Good luck out there.
Good luck. And so immediately everyone was saying, they're down. And if they keep going the way they are, they'll stay up. And
will they get into the playoffs?
No. But if they avoid relegation, it would be a real like the relegation.
But then, what experience has that? If I may ask you, sir, what experience has that given Rooney that is going to be useful at Everton?
Well, I guess
surviving a relegation battle.
I mean, it's looking very much like that at the moment for Everton. I guess galvanising players. I mean, apparently he's no fool when it comes to the tactics, Rooney, despite all the other stuff that kind of follows him round.
I suppose because Rooney was such an intuitive, instinctive, raw player, like someone touched with the gift of genius in a sort of, because in our imagination as English people, in the case of yourself and me, he's like, even the nickname Wazza, he was a sort of new Gaza. And like Gaza was an even more pronounced version of like mania and genius combined. It's not like a... so perhaps we're doing him a great disservice.
I think if he wasn't from Liverpool, if he didn't have that accent and he was a kind of more refined Southerner or something,
and then
wouldn't
that
have
picture of him and his mum and dad coming out to sea. Remember that?
I don't remember that, no.
Well, that I think made an impact too.
He was very much affected by the tabloid culture at the time.
And all that wags, that was sexist.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Look, I mean, no way saying Wayne Rooney's, lived a perfect life, but also
The Perfect Life of Wayne Rooney by Gareth Roy.
I'm also saying that the tabloids have to take a lot
I'm
of
sick of them.
blame for all of that.
May I say this as well? Back to my point about that new hot young thing in the charts, Christina Aguilera.
Yeah.
In my mind, it ain't long enough ago that Wayne Rooney scored that goal against Arsenal.
It's mad.
And now we're talking about him managing
Yeah.
Everton. So I don't like this because I know what the underlying subtext is. I'm getting old.
You're going to die.
And then die. That's what the problem with the old bit. Yeah.
Imagine what it must be like for players to kind of just look back and think, that was my playing career and it's just gone in a moment. I mean, obviously you've got the memories, that must be amazing.
They're all locked up in your mansion. Simpsons.
Yeah. But I mean, I thought it was strange to see Wayne Rooney with a beard, but it's got it. I mean, it's not going anywhere.
I like the beard. Is it a big, thick beard?
No, it's not too thick, actually. He's not been blessed, in terms of, I guess.
What is it? A patchy, sparse beard?
It looks a little bit bristly and it's not kind of thick. And some people just have great beards. Like, you've got a good beard.
You've
Ross.
a lovely beard.
Is it? I've got little swirly bits in my beard.
You've got the swirls. You've always had the swirls, Gal, and we've always loved them. They're the thumbprint swirls.
It's
They're
true.
the walnut whips of the cheekbone, jawline walnut whips all round for everyone, and we all appreciate those.
Great.
We didn't get far very much with this Shetland pony yarn, did we?
Sorry, we didn't. No.
We've basically, and because I've got some in my breakdown, I've got some additional points to make about Everton. Not many.
Great. I mean, do you want to do the
my breakdown? But what about
breakdown?
this? What about these questions? You don't care?
questions.
I always think it's good to do the breakdown earlier.
Do the breakdown early.
Because it's good.
All right, Jen.
This is Russell's football breakdown.
This is Russell's breakdown.
Russell's breakdown.
And I'm
I
right
like
on
your
cue
breakdowns.
with that. And here it is, my breakdown. Do you think I've lost too much weight? Sorry for being so obsessed. Okay, so now let's, because I just saw a photo of myself when I picked up my phone. Now, let's do,
Hang on,
because
you've got a picture of yourself as your screensaver.
No, so I just sent a photo to Subi of me by some swans. Look out for that on the internet, guys. It's coming soon. A new photo of me by
I
a
see.
swan. So because I'd done that, it was just there. I'm not my screensaver. I've got children, Gal. I've got children, 10 cats, 2 dogs. For me to get my own screensaver, it means there's been a terrible massacre. Unthinkable. Oh, God, I've lost it. Put me back on the screensaver. I mean, I don't know. I think I probably put West Ham's
Back
badge.
to 2005.
There you go, there's myself. I mean, there's not many people you see as their own screensaver, and when they do, I'm not judging the own screensaver folk, because I know some of you will be listening, but I actually am a little bit attracted to it.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jengo?
It's strange. I had gotten a taxi once and the woman had herself as her screensaver. And I was confused by the pose and everything. It was...
Hang on, the taxi driver? Or...
Yeah.
The taxi driver?
Yeah.
To la taxi.
Yeah, she had...
Here is me.
she had a
I'm
picture
my
of
own
herself.
screensaver.
She was her own screensaver.
Yes, I'm charging waiting time. She had herself as her own screensaver.
Yeah.
And what in your mind, what do you think it indicates pathologically, Jengo?
She likes looking at photos of herself. She's
And then
image
where
conscious.
do we take, of course, that,
And
and
then
then where does
looking-
that take us?
Oh, here we go. There's only one man for this, isn't there?
It's I am. So if you like looking at photos of yourself, what does that mean? Presumably narcissism
Yeah.
or some kind of self-infatuation or self-centeredness. And
Which
then what does
ultimately
that
is
mean?
insecurity, isn't it?
Or maybe
Insecurity.
she's insecure and then this is a nice photo and it reminds her that she looks okay.
Oh, I like that. That's a nicer version. Should we go with that?
But even I struggle with even like profile pictures.
I hate photos of myself.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Your WhatsApp picture, you look absolutely gorgeous.
Well,
you
this...
look like Ryan Reynolds.
I'm
ridiculous.
usually 2 or 10 years old in mine. Because clearly I thought I'd
Yeah, I keep seeing these ones of you, Jen, of
peaked as a
sleep in a
kid.
barn or you on a beach. It's ridiculous. Like
beach?
sort of catalogue of
of
little
my life.
Jengo.
Yeah, but I feel like that's when I looked great.
You look the same
was your
now.
prime, was it?
Yeah, 7. That was the
Prime was at 2 or 7. Who are you, Mozart? Mind you, he went on to do some pretty good things.
You do. You do.
Let's face it, old Mozart.
Give her the points.
It's the new Mozart. Okay, look.
Right, let's get through these games.
No, all right. Graham Potter says his name is too stupid for the top jobs because he's
Yeah.
been touted as a potential.
He said this, does he?
Yeah, but
When did he say
it
this?
didn't stop. Actually, it's another mate told me.
I didn't think I'd heard Graham Potter say that.
His name is too. He said it. What are we going to start doing? Questioning my mates.
Our sources.
Graham Potter says his name's too stupid for the top job. But if that's true, how come Harry Potter beat Voldemort? Question mark.
Very good. Very good.
But thank you for acknowledging what was an attempt at a joke. Now, but also, how come though? Izzy though?
We're on the same page because I was thinking about this last night.
Aha.
Because I was listening to, I think, Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher talk about Brighton, and the Sky Sports host was asking Neville, could Brighton be any better than they are with the current, squad that they've got? And Neville said no. He said, like, they're impeccably coached, they play great football, and all that they're missing is a 60, 70 million pound striker. But in the current kind of structure of Brighton and their financials, they can't have it. But other than that, they're kind of impeccable. The point being, Graham Potter is a great coach, achieving
as good as it's possible to achieve.
He's punching a bar. Is that right? He's punching, or Brighton are punching by having Potter. And that at some point he will go to a bigger team, but he does keep getting overlooked. I think Spurs, wasn't it? And now
the
you've
Spurs
got Everton.
were right to go for Conte, weren't they? Really?
Yeah, but they went for Nuno, didn't they?
That was
initially.
A mistake.
And now that Everton are talking about, but I think it would be a mistake for Potter to go to Everton. He's at a better run club in Brighton.
Is Everton, like currently at least, the reporting on Everton is that it's a basket case club.
It's absolute shambles, it seems. Yeah, because pre-Benitez leaving, they just got rid of everyone else, director of football, all the kind of staff, because apparently Benitez had kind of wanted a clear out. They cleared them out, and then they told him to go.
Him out. This clear out thing, we like it. We're clearing out you. No, stop clearing out. It was horrible with Stephen Warnock and Danny Murphy.
Should have given him that medal.
And then perhaps you'd be still in a job.
Yeah. So the only one left is big Duncan Ferguson. So I just hope he stays in the job. They give it to him till the end of the season.
Well, I did like it last time. Big
was
Duncan was
great.
There. He cuddled a ball boy.
He did.
He looks hard.
Yeah.
He did that thing where he sort of used to beat people up and actually, I think, went to prison.
I think he did.
Which
we're not endorsing.
No. But what he done on a football pitch was so hard that
hard.
This is actually a prison sentence.
Yeah.
So that puts other fouls in perspective.
Duncan Ferguson is one of those men who will be scary forever.
Even when he's 70.
Or 90. I think people will just talk to him and go, whatever you say, Duncan.
Duncan Ferguson, if he gets up out of that wheelchair, he's going to smash our heads in.
Yeah. Some men have that intensity about them.
Big Dunk being one such fella.
Yeah.
Okay, so now the match of the day coverage of the Man City-Chelsea game. It begins with the commentator saying, Pep looks well, having had COVID, but then he corrected himself and said, a positive COVID test anyway.
Yeah.
So where's this guy going with that line of inquiry?
Well, I guess he means that some people don't get effects from it, do they? Just because they had it didn't mean they get effects. I don't think it's anything sinister.
Anything nefarious, fair enough. Why are they playing Hey Jude at City's stadium with the historic discrepancies and conflict between Manchester and Liverpool, leading right back to that canal, going up to present-day conflict?
I don't know is the answer.
I feel that the City of Liverpool and the Beatles should say, no more of that.
Yeah.
Like when when a rock star will say, no, David Cameron's Conservative Party can't use this, whatever. When politicians want to use like a bit of music and like the band go, no, you're not having that. We don't like you.
Yeah. But it's not like their official anthem or anything. It's just, I guess it's just on in the stadium.
On in the background. I'm taking it too seriously. Fine. Thanks. I'm perhaps putting that out. They've made the advertising boards bigger at the Etihad standard by 100%. They've increased them in size. They are double the width now, or height, if I may say. Who do they think they are?
These are vital observations.
That's what they've done.
Have they?
Yeah, that's more advertising revenue and more space taken up on the screen, and it's a further march of it. And also, may I say, I've accepted now that it's called the Etihad, like just as a normal thing.
Well, that's what happens.
Right, we've just trained us like little rat in a cage. Like a little chimp, like a dog, not puncturing a pheasant with its teeth.
The Emirates.
The Emirates. The Emirates, the Etihad.
Although Newcastle for a while was Sports Direct. In fact, is it still? Surely it can't be as part of that severance of...
Like if Mike Ashley's managed to negotiate, you've got to call it Sports Direct still.
Yeah. No, surely it's not that. But we'll find that out.
What are they going to name it after? New lot, blimey.
I do think it's a shame when stadiums get renamed as part of any deal. It's kind of like renaming a player or a manager. I think it's too far. You know, the stadium should remain like Anfield. Imagine if Anfield ever isn't Anfield. I just think that would be dreadful.
Well, all they've got to do is say, it ain't big enough, we've got to move somewhere else.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're not calling it that anymore, we're calling it this. That's why it was always good when Barcelona didn't have a sponsor and all of that.
I used to love that, yeah.
It's good, wasn't it? And then West Ham, I think, through some sort of accident, didn't have one for
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, with Hull, it's been that in the past, yeah.
Oh, I couldn't get anyone in time. Oh, I don't know how to spell that.
Yeah.
Like through some sort of blunder.
Yeah, wasn't West Ham in Europe this year haven't had a sponsor, have
Against
they?
Dynamo Zagreb.
And you got that shirt.
It's a nice shirt.
Lovely.
I like it a lot.
We'll get to West Ham and the 3-2 loss to Leeds.
All right.
Sorry.
Which item of managerial clothing would you most like in your own wardrobe?
I mean, managerial clothing is something I think far too much about in general. I noticed Benitez, for his final game in charge, looked the smartest I think I've ever seen him look. His suit was impeccable, proper waistcoat and all of that, and I thought, that's how to dress. That's to dress as a manager. Personally, me, I would need more comfort than that on the sidelines. I would want to go something fairly comfortable. In this weather, I'd go big.
One of them big coats.
Big coat with
Go big or
with
go
a
home.
hood. I always thought...
Tuchel's sort of grey thing?
Huh?
Tuchel's grey thing, or one of them ones that goes right down to your legs that's a puffer
I
coat?
think Tuchel wears too many kind of skinny clothes. For a man,
that is skinny.
is pretty skinny.
And then he wears that skinny long nomad. It's like, how much do you want to emphasize? I will emphasize the skinniness further by wearing a leek on top of my head. Stop elongating yourself. Widen out, horizontal stripes.
Yeah, exactly. You're absolutely right. Who gets it right? Pep does pretty well.
No, melty badge.
Melty
badge, dust and bin bag trainers.
Who else does pretty well?
I want Moises Gile. There's all this question's been about.
Sure.
I want Moises West Ham Gile.
Yeah, we'll have to get him that. Someone will have to get him
It's
that.
a lovely puffery Gile, West Ham crest. A Gile is a perfect item of clothing for dog walking in the winter months.
I love a gilet.
You love a Gile. Whenever I zoom you,
Yeah.
there you are in a Gile.
Because my house is freezing.
Pop the eating up, put another log on the fire, put another bar on. You'll be right as rain. But if it's a Gile you like, then I support you in
Well,
that.
you're mates
at
with
least.
Mikel Antonio now. Surely you can ask him to... He can probably get actual David Moyes' gilet for you.
I don't know if this friendship's going to take. Well, I might do, but I mean, in the end, these are very young men.
Yes.
You know what we're gonna.
Yeah, and
I've got a very different lifestyle.
Yeah.
I'm in the countryside. I've got 2 children.
Yeah.
I've got umpteen pets.
Did you get a sense of, this guy's a pretty confident, knows who he is?
Well, all of that, but also that he's quite lovely and sort
Right.
of demure. I really, really liked him, and I would have a friendship with almost any footballer you could name. But
Yeah.
I actually, I feel like it's not something I'm going to ardently pursue. At this
Who's
stage of my life.
your strongest football friendship with of all the footballers that you've known? Like, who have you been closest to, and who have you remained closest to?
All right, there's a bit with Noble, a bit with Cotty, a bit with Macaveni.
Yeah.
I wish I'd have been able to cling on to Declan.
That'd
What
be
about
a lot
you?
of fun. I don't think there's... I mean, all I can only say Windaz because of the chat that we had on here.
And you didn't make an effort with that.
No, and my Twitter conversation with Stephen Warnock, which is pretty fresh.
Raise it, gal.
Who knows? Who knows where that'll lead?
Jen was mates with Southgate.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you met him at
Yeah.
that Ed Sheeran concert.
Yeah. I've met Peter Crouch too.
See, Jen's
He's a
actually,
good
I'd
one.
say, he's doing really well.
He's a good one. We met Crouch backstage at one of your gigs. He came to one of your gigs. No, it wasn't. It was a Noel Gallagher gig.
Yeah, because I would have remembered Crouch towering about when I was back there.
Yeah.
So no, I don't. Yeah, so it was a Noel Gallagher gig, was it?
Yeah, no, and Crouchy was there.
So some big room towering about the place. Fair enough. Salah and De Bruyne. The message is, don't be so impatient, Chelsea, because you're probably offloading players that will become actually the iconic best players of the best teams in the league.
Yeah.
Like De Bruyne is so good even among a bunch of good players.
Yeah.
Salah, impeccable world's best player. Don't be so bloody impatient.
They've done it with quite a few players, haven't they, Chelsea? Yeah, I mean...
And then when they do buy one back and admit it, Lukaku, it's not
doesn't
working.
work. I know. Their model is kind of high turnover in general, isn't it? You know,
Churn.
Managers not working, get rid, bring a new one in. I mean, you can't argue with it. They've won tons of trophies.
Right, they know more than me. How dare I criticise
Well,
them?
whilst it's true...
I'm I'm propping up a 3-person league where I can't even predict anything. I mean, in a way, for a while, we all had roughly the same points. And I thought that sort of shows that I bet like you could predict like people get just that. You'll get around that much right. You know, to say this model did better than randomness, than randomly predicting. We could have like a sort of like a mouse predicting things by which bit of cheese it will.
Nice. Is it in the film with you? you knew his co-star.
If it plays its cards right. Top billing, Stuart Little. And as the bloke, Russ. Yeah.
Okay.
The commentator says it's too big a gap for Chelsea to narrow. It isn't too big for them to narrow. It may be too big for them to close. But it can be narrowed, and any gap can be narrowed quite easily.
Yeah.
But can it be closed?
No,
it can't. So
well, yes, it can ultimately. If Man City lose some games,
4 games,
just doesn't look like it, does it?
It doesn't look like they will, because it looks like they're hitting their stride. Lukaku and De Bruyne have, during their time presumably with Belgium on international matches, developed an extremely complicated, to my count, 5 or 6 move handshake.
Yeah, I just noticed that at the end of the game.
Where do you get the time to develop and memorise a 6th move handshake?
Well, it will be when you're away with Belgium, won't it? International duty. There's all sorts of bonds, I imagine.
They're bored out of their minds.
I'm quite envious of the bonds that must develop over international duty. I think it must be pretty wonderful.
Well, you're away, you're on holiday.
Yeah, that's it. Well, you're
4 days to the next game.
Yeah. And you've got a bit of prep time, week or 2 beforehand. All those pictures and images of like the England players on those unicorn things. I want one of those unicorn things.
I had one for a while. They were all right.
Was it? You had one?
They were my kids more, to be honest. But I had a go and it wasn't bad.
Yeah. All the England players like them, didn't they?
Yeah, they loved those.
Yeah, I get jealous when I see that. I think because...
Well, come round here, you can have a go in house.
Yeah, you haven't got a pool. What are we doing it in?
Freezing.
Just on the grass.
What difference does it make?
Me, you and the mice.
What do you want to do? Frolic in sub-zero temperatures? Just dress up all in wool and sit yourself down on a unicorn while a mouse nibbles at you indiscriminately.
I'll consider it.
We could at least develop a 5 move. We're too old to develop handshakes. All that's gone as well.
Yeah, no.
You're not too old. You could do it.
It's a young man's game, Jen.
No.
Have you ever had a complex handshake, Jen, with a person?
Maybe when I was 14.
Yeah. Like they did.
I remember, sort of.
Who was that with?
Nicole.
Where's she gone?
She's in Dublin.
She's not moved an inch, is she?
No.
Let's get her back.
She never lived in England.
Were you happy that Norwich won? Because remember, you support Norwich.
Yes.
You support Norwich and Wolves, and they both won.
You just like yellow, amber, orange, and Traore's greasy muscles.
Actually, they are the colour of my room.
Now, if Traore goes Tottenham, are you going to transfer to Tottenham?
No, I don't like how that feels. It's just like I hate Arsenal.
Oh. But then if he goes to Tottenham, that really could be good.
No, I won't like...
No, you're not going to follow greasy, muscly Traore.
No.
Lovely and handsome.
Scored
he is very handsome. Did he finally?
Yeah, he scored. He never scores. It was a well-taken goal.
See? Why don't you...
I'll go out with him if you set me up with him.
All right. That gives me something to think about.
Can't sustain relationships with Antonio, let alone Traore.
He's not the one with the relationship. He's just the introduction.
All I've got to do is introduce you and Traore.
All right.
And that's it. I step out. Although every time I see you, Traore, and when you have I'd want it named after me. If it leads to the fruits of labour, childhood, will you name it old Russ?
No.
Baby old Russ, are you looking at the time, gal? Is that a good sign? All right. Also, finally, almost finally, like any young players watching this, like they can learn from it.
One of the most overused phrases in
You
in
can't learn
punditry.
from it. These are elite athletes. They're highly coached.
Yeah.
You can't learn anything from
remember
that.
Michael Richards said that, didn't he?
Yeah.
It's used all the time. It's a staple of Match of the Day.
Any young players who are being extremely well coached. At this point, if you're not on the books of a top 4 club, you're not don't even look at Match of the Day.
You're absolutely
If
right.
you're not a 7, well on the road, unless you're going to be a Jamie Vardy playing with a tag, coming good at 26, type genius, one of those Cinderella stories.
Yeah.
You might as well just look out the window.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because there's no point telling, and if you are on the books of Man City, you're already looking at De Bruyne.
They're coaching you. They're saying, watch De Bruyne, because we're thinking you're going to be one of our many attacking midfielders.
So you don't need telling via Match of the Day.
By Mike Richards.
Yeah.
Just get her out. So it's unnecessary.
It's unnecessary, but it's one of those footballing phrases, isn't it?
I suppose what you could take from it, because I think in particular what he was saying is a couple of players were hustling Lukaku at a transitional point of play. And I suppose it could say, if you are a young player, try your hardest.
Do try. Yeah, do try. It always helps.
Try your very best. You think now, you're right, it's during the game. Are you trying your hardest? Not really. I'm just relaxing. Right. Start trying your hardest right now.
Otherwise, you're not going to get that contract.
This is going nowhere.
Yeah.
And then that's the end of my breakdown, really, other than, I saw in David Squires' brilliant cartoon that he said that fan who wiped a bogey on a lady's head. And I thought, Squires has spotted something there that I've not seen.
I didn't see that.
I'd like to know about that. Who did that? Who wiped a bogey on someone's head and it was caught on camera?
Oh, dear. No, I haven't spotted that this week.
We'll have to take that up with David Squires.
That wasn't on the Monday Night Club.
Are you enjoying Bowen's play?
Very much. I mean, I did see some comments on Twitter about our podcast, that the assumption being that last week we would enthuse over Jarrod Bowen's recent form, because he is playing ever so well, isn't he? I mean, he missed...
Could have had a hat-trick.
Yeah, he missed a sitter, didn't he, really, against Leeds, right at the death. Which was surprising because he's in great form and being talked about for England, isn't he? By Moyes himself also.
Good. I leave people voice notes, right?
You haven't done one for Bowen, have you?
Not yet, but I'm gonna. Oh. But listen, right, what happened is I leave my mate Nick Ortner, who's just had a baby son, messages. We talk about football and stuff like that. He runs that wonderful app, Tapping Solutions. Nick Ortner and I so he's just had a baby. But so he sent me a picture of himself with his brand new newborn little baby son, and but above that, the last thing we were talking about was West Ham v Norwich, and it just said Bowen amazing, right? And because my voice messages are being deleted, it just says a picture of him with his son. And it said Bowen amazing. So I was like, oh wow, he's
called him Bowen.
Bowen, and you could see if that could be a name for a son, Bowen. Yeah. So I was but I was because this is a significant moment, I'm responding immediately. Oh well, congratulations, and Bowen, yeah, why not? That's a lovely. Hang on. Oh wait. I see. No, that's a comment on the previous where you're not calling your son Bowen or amazing.
No,
that's the kind of misunderstanding.
Bowen amazing. That's a great name.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
But
so did you actually send these texts? Was this? It
was a voice note. That.
Oh, it was a voice note.
So I'm I realise, oh no, you're probably not calling your son Bowen amazing. Sorry, and congratulations.
It will happen. Someone will, not probably Bowen amazing, but someone will call their son Bowen.
Bowen works.
Think. If he continues,
shorten it to Bo.
If he continues the way he has been. I mean, what do you think? Where do you see it going for Bowen?
Where's it going, Bowen? All alone up
because
there.
Obviously, everyone talks about Rice, don't they? And even the other day, I think on the commentary, they were kind of saying the only player that was trying to pull West Ham level and get something out of that game was Rice. But Bowen has been, he's been up there, hasn't he? He's one of the form players for West Ham this season. It's probably started on Antonio. Now it's kind of shifted over to
But Rice is obviously absolutely consistent and is almost like a World 11, as we've said before, type player. He's could go anywhere. But I heard Simon Jordan say the other day, City ain't going to buy him now. Chelsea probably aren't buying him in the window. Liverpool don't have that kind of money. United aren't going to spend that kind of money while they're in this transitional period. So he probably ain't going to leave in January, please God. Yeah. And, and if West Ham got Champions League, which would be amazing, obviously, for so many reasons, then that would be another season. Yeah. Of Rice and Bowen. I don't, obviously, me mostly, I just feel I don't want him to go. And of course, you think, you get loads of money and replace it, but it's just there's just the Lingard saga was a little bit of a sort of a twist of the knife. We've not had that since Payet. We've not had that kind of or Arnautovic a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, he was amazing at West Ham, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he was another Moyes conversion from a wide player.
Whereas it feels like now it's not just West Ham having one star player. It feels like they've got several very good players and probably one star in Rice, but several other very good players.
But Lanzini's come good. Yeah. Ben Rama is playing beautiful. Creswell. Yeah. It's it's a sort of a terrific team at the moment. Now look, we still don't know what happened to Bucky the Shetland pony, do we? And I'm sure that you're waiting at home with bated breath.
Absolutely.
Regular listeners, friends of the show, and potential sponsors. They're sat there now at Nike. thinking, what the hell happens to this Shetland pony before we write a check to these plucky youngsters that think Christina Aguilara and Twitter are the forefront, the vanguard? Well, let me tell you. So Badsy Borburn on YouTube says, we played a little Welsh pub team that had a Shetland pony called Bucky as a mascot. It's good that he's remembered that. About 5 minutes in the game, Bucky suffered a heart attack and it did not look good. It never does. I had the idea of getting the defibrillator from the clubhouse. Wow, that's a good idea to defibrillate a pony. I've got to defibrillate a pony from the clubhouse, and I optimistically strapped it to Bucky's shaggy tummy. This is good writing. To all our amazement, Bucky's eyes opened, and within minutes he was jogging around happily. The game carried on, but the occasion was dwarfed by our newfound respect for life. I'm reliably informed that Bucky is now dead. But for a moment, Bucky experienced a new wave of life.
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. I'm sorry, I was slightly distracted.
I saw you distracted. What are you giving people a video to download?
That's right, yeah.
But like, were you so immersed in that do I have to read this again?
Pretty much so, yeah.
You're not even listening about Bucky.
I can't do anything.
Why can't you do
two
two things?
I just can't. I've never been able to.
There's this pony.
Yeah.
It's called Bucky. It had a
Yeah.
heart attack. This geezer defibrillates it, and
Yeah.
Bucky comes back to life.
Momentarily.
For good.
Oh, forgot he's back, but he's dead now.
He's dead now, 'cause time.
Well, yeah,
it's
it's going
father
to
time.
happen to all of us. That's wonderful.
Does it qualify as a spontaneous, immediate impact?
Yeah, you can have that.
All right. Mother Smort on YouTube. I was playing my first ever game for a Sunday League team at home. These are good, actually, these. All the lads knew the referee, and they told me, call him Carp, said these mates. That's what everyone called him, apparently. So 10 minutes in, after a dodgy decision, I shout, oh, come on, Carp. He immediately booked me, so I say, what was that for, Carp? And he sends me off. I later found out that Carp was nicknamed... The nickname that he got at school was there was a rumour that he made love to a carp. Now, what I like mostly about this anecdote is the sensible use of the phrase made love.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
there can be challenges in our species, even within the confines of the species, in qualifying that act of coitus as lovemaking.
Yes.
But I think once there's a carp involved, it can no longer be called an expression of love. It's something else, isn't it? I mean, just by legal definition, it's not allowed.
That would be awful that it was a well-known enough rumour that various players on Sunday League teams knew about it. How awful.
Practically, the Carp's got very little to offer. And I don't even know what the dynamics of that would be, and perhaps
No.
it's wrong to speculate.
I think so.
Animals involved in both these. First there's Bucky, and then there's Carp. Creatures of the Lord have been present throughout this. We've been talking about animal training, and like a theme has presented and suggested itself. Perhaps
Indeed.
Darren Brown has been at work, or perhaps it's less complicated than that. Bish and Bones on Twitter says, we had a father and son football match for my son's end of year sports day. We were losing by 1 goal when I was subbed on, and such was my fervour to grab a goal, I may have inadvertently broke an 8-year-old's nose. If you're playing against children, you surely have to moderate the physical
You
side
do,
of the
but I
game.
can see how it takes over,
Right.
because, it's all the old instincts kick in. And,
the red mist.
It reminds me of a story allegedly about... well, no, it wasn't allegedly about that Martin Keown allegedly broke the shin or leg or something of a BBC employee. Someone told me, in fact, actually, it was on the way back from Australia where we were touring with you. Well, I was part of your team. I wasn't touring also, and I was on the plane, and the person sat next to me was a producer at the BBC Sport. So obviously that was it for me. That was the plane journey taken care of, all 13 hours. I bet they were well chuffed.
The VT packages, though, surely. Who chooses the music?
Yeah, all sorts of questions, because it was all match of the day and everything. And then I was asking about the pundits and stuff, and I remember the most interesting thing to me was Martin Keown, talking about Martin Keown. And what this person told me, again, don't know if this is true or not, but apparently the staff and the pundits
Play the game.
all they regularly kind of play five-a-side or whatever together. And Martin, again, don't know if this is true, Martin Keown gets quite aggressive during these games and got several strikes by BBC bosses saying that if he did it again...
Already you are a former pro playing against TV folk.
Yeah, and apparently one time he broke the leg of a BBC regular staff member, on Match of the Day or something, and then, as I said, got this warning from people, from bosses at the BBC, that if he did it again, he'd be out.
To be honest, Claire Balding was through on goal. I had to do. Amazing.
Yeah, I'd love it if it. Well, I would love it if it was true, because and actually, I have a different appreciation of Martin Keown.
He takes it seriously, and if it isn't true, then of course we've qualified throughout that it was just a story from a BBC employee on a plane who remains nameless. And sorry, Martin Keown, if it isn't true.
Yeah.
Alex Beard on YouTube says, I was late for a game and ran onto the pitch after the rest of the team had already gone. I shouted, come on, let's fucking do them.
Oh, God.
As I ran towards centre circle to discover they were holding a minute's silence for a recently deceased player. Well, that's what you've done there, is you've transgressed against one of our moments of sacred observation.
It's an amazing scene, though.
Come on!
That's something Martin Keown might do.
Martin, please. There's respect for the dead.
I love our listeners, I have to say.
It's bad enough you killed him.
They've got some brilliant stories.
Brilliant stories.
Yeah.
And some really beautifully sourced materials. Aussie Hartley on Instagram. This sounds silly. I think you probably had to be there. But the opposition were taking a free kick and the ref farted as he jogged past us. We all just went. We giggled through the first half. We giggled through a half-time, bollocking for the manager for giggling. We were still giggling when the final whistle went, and we giggled all the way home on the bus. Finally, the infuriated manager of the team at home asked, what was so damn funny? And someone said, the ref farted, and the manager started giggling too. The really sad thing is most of the team is in their 30s and 40s, just giggling their way through sweet lady life.
Fantastic. You see, Ross, age means nothing.
Nothing. It's not even real. So, in conclusion, let Rooney manage Everton.
Yes.
Let Aguilera top the charts. Oh, Billie Eilish or whoever it is now. We don't mind. It's
Full circles.
there.
Full circles.
That's a good way to come near the end as well.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Well
You're trying
done,
to wrap
Jen.
us up, Jen?
Just keep in the
57
time.
minutes, you'll be lucky.
Got another couple of hours.
I've got a long, meandering, pointless, legally dubious anecdote
I've
to
got
unpack.
Dr. Doolittle 4 to talk about, starring old Russ.
Now, of course, it's going straight to video, even though there's no real market for video. Downey Jr., he's not interested, so it's just me and an animatronic mouse that's being played by a sock in some scenes and a mouse in others, but we're confident that we can recoup on the £100 investment. Now, let's just wrap up this show. Thank you for joining us for Football is
Any
Nice.
other highlights of games? Shall I quickly run through? So the Man United Coutinho, Man United Villa. What did you think of Coutinho? That was
It's good that he came on and got an assist and then scored a goal at the far post, tap in the 6-yard box. I thought that was all good, and I think it's good that it's revitalising Villa further, more than even the appointment of Gerrard. And I like Steven Gerrard, and I want him to succeed.
Yeah.
But what it presents us with is the potential spectacle of 12 to 18 months, Merseyside derby managed by Steven Gerrard and Wayne Rooney, respectively, and me thinking, am I Rip Van Winkle? Have I fallen asleep or something? I thought they were a couple of little lads. They're both younger than me.
Yeah.
Like, who's next? John Sargent of Norwich, Prime Minister of England, President of France.
John Sargent. Is it Josh? Maybe. John.
Is it Josh Sargent? Better. Do you call people John these days? Does that even happen anymore? Look, let me wrap this up by telling you that I've had a terrible couple of weeks, amassing a mere 6 points, which over my predictions in 2 weeks worth of results, and that now the league stands with you, Gareth, at its summit, a colossus with 77 points, me third, and Jenny May Fitton with 68 points. But if this Twitter poll goes the way that we think it will, how many weeks has the league been running? If you can tell us that, we can start to see what the imaginary... Even, Gal, if you even win, it will be tarnished, because some people will say...
True.
So in a sense, we've got no choice but to let Jenny May Finn have her aggregate points. And this is even before a poll, which you can tell because she'll probably be the person that posts it. It'll be worded in such a way.
I won't be posting it.
It'll be Darkness fans coming in.
What? I'm not in the darkness.
I got the results from a Darkness fan
I'm
post
not in
or
the
something.
darkness.
Where did you get this from? Some sort of crochet club in a West Island village? I don't know, things that happen in Ireland, like in West Island villages. I was just trying to think of some other subgroup that you might belong to.
No, they probably don't like me. I can't just do that response to me talking.
Anyway, I'm actually backing you if you can hear.
I'm surprised. If I can hear, Okay.
I'm on your team.
But is that because you've completely detached like you did from the West Ham game?
Might be that, yeah. It's because
Is your only way to regain control?
That, yeah. That is all of it. Yeah, it's that. But if I saw some free pointers next to my name, I'd be really like boosted by that, because the feeling that you can predict things. You know, I'm the sort of person that really feels like, well, I'm really intuitive. I want to see the future, but we now know categorically that I don't and cannot.
Breaking news: Rooney and Lampard in the frame for your Everton job.
Lampard, no, don't you think?
I don't think that'll happen. I don't think he'll go to a club like Everton, the way that they're run. You would think that Lampard, especially after the Chelsea experience, will want some kind of stability at a club.
You need stability, because what people do, like, as I was going to say about Graham Potter, like there was, like, you know, with like often your next appointment is a sort of response to the previous appointment, and I think that Everton have had a good go at Koeman's and Martinez's and Ancelotti's, and what I'm basically saying is glamorous foreign managers, and now it's time to return to their last era of relative stability. Although Martinez did have some good times there, which is of course Moyes of West Ham, and Graham Potter has all of the attributes, even though, like, you know, from what I understand, is Brighton's style of play, many say is a very sort of graceful and interesting style of play.
Yep.
I say Graham Potter for the Toffees.
Yeah.
Will he leave Brighton?
They won't thank you, the Brighton fans.
Sorry, Brighton
lost
fans.
a few supporters.
Well, I'm sorry about that. I wasn't looking at it from that perspective. I was looking at it from Everton's perspective. Yeah. If I look at it from Brighton's, you like Potter and you don't want him to go. And so, well, who do you want? Rooney to go there. But then, what's the point? You can't manage that many perspectives, Gal, simultaneously. I'm not Siddhartha. That's another thing. I can't even predict the future. I can't hold mutual perspectives. In my other podcasts and content, I claim I can do all these things. Football is Nice is the true revelatory experience of our broadcast content.
Yeah.
That's why football is nice.
It is nice.
Have you got any more points to make?
No more points. In fact, we can delete those last few points that I made.
I like those points.
Yeah.
Have you got any points, Jen?
No.
None deep down?
No.
Good. Football is nice. Good inhale there from Jenny Mayfield.